I would say this is the most comfortable I think I've been on a podcast. Your great questions, your energy, your humor, and it was just a really fun conversation. I just feel like lately it's harder to connect with people.
What would be the first thing you'd want to do upon landing?
I would go night diving with manta rays. I would definitely get a Mai Tai, watch the sunset on the beach, lots of poke, shaved ice, swimming with turtles, waterfalls.
My tendency is usually just to get down to the water as quick as possible. And I love scanning the beach for seashells.
Do you have a collection of those?
We have a glass vase in our bathroom that's, full of them. Mostly we collect memories, but the things that we do collect are seashells and stickers. I love those.
Oh, he loves
My wife has a company called Stickaroony.
Get out of here. Do you mind if I grab a pen?
Yeah, get your crayon, Chris.
All right.
So, Lynn has been running Stickaroony for several years, and she's got all different kinds of off-color stickers and fun, creative, cool ones. What Stickaroony is on Amazon, and you could check her out. I don't collect seashells, but I do collect spoons.
Oh, cool.
All different kinds of spoons. And I think that restaurants from all over the world might be looking for me right now.
Oh my gosh, that's so awesome. I take the martini, like the olive thing for, in your martini glass. I steal those.
Oh, the little spears?
Yes,
the ones made of plastic.
Them.
Nice ones, like the nice metal ones. I love martini.
Yep.
One made with gin? Oh, vodka. That's a fake martini.
I know. I can't. Gin for me, it's just like the aftertaste. I can't get past it. And then I have to have regular olives, not blue cheese stuffed.
Oh, yeah. No, that's fine. So you're an olive girl more than an onion girl.
Oh, yeah. I don't like onions. No.
So, those little pickled onions that they put in drinks at bars?
Yeah.
If you get a martini with an onion, it's actually called a Gibson. Because you can't order a martini with onions because it's not a martini at that point. So you guys look all happy today. What part of the world are you in?
We're in Denver.
Just north of Denver.
Okay.
Or I'm sorry. Yeah, no, just south of Denver. My apologies. Yeah.
Okay. Chris really doesn't know where he's at right now. Should we talk about that?
Never.
Yeah.
I've lived here my whole life, born here, and I still appreciate direction.
But then if it's a fine line that I'm or coming up to the exit, and in my head, I'm like, he's going to miss the exit. And then I'm like, if I don't say anything, then we're going to miss it. And then if I do, he's going to be like, Katie. So I always have to say something.
So Katie, are you absolutely the French called backseat driver?
I'm the passenger princess most of the time for sure. I really do try to be not a very talkative partner.
She's the backseat seat driver. Yes.
Guys, what would happen if you just switched positions and Katie did the driving? Chris, would you just be like...
I love driving.
Yeah? Oh, Chris, then you would be a persona non grata in the car if you were just in the passenger seat.
I don't even know who that version of me is. I've had 3 vehicles in our literal 10 years together. And one truck I bought with 0 miles on it, and I put 160 some on it. The other little car, 40,000. And my truck now just hit 60,000. She's had the same vehicle for the entire time, 2016, that she bought brand new. And how many?
45
miles.
I'm a lot like Katie in that I don't drive a lot of miles. And Chris, it sounds like you drive so much that you may not sleep very often.
That's a lot. It is a lot. What's crazy is after COVID, I don't drive anywhere.
Yeah.
Our cars,
they die all the time because we don't drive as often.
Yep.
Our little bubble has everything we need and it's all walking distance. It's really great.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit more about your bubble.
Okay. So it's just a very 700 square foot condo in Cherry Creek. It's right in the heart of it. We have our office where we have our main business literally 2 blocks away. And then I do a part-time job and that job's 2 blocks away. We have 2 Starbucks on each corner. We have our favorite actual coffee shop a block away. That's Aviana.
And every restaurant you could dream of.
Yeah. And then the landscaping, this is a really kind of higher end, neighborhood. And so walking our dog is so lovely because I get to see all the beautiful landscaping that everybody does in their homes.
Katie, you just mentioned that there are 2 Starbucks on every corner. Do you think that's enough?
Yes, I think we're good because the one on Fillmore is close to our work, and then the one on Columbine is close to my other work. So it's like perfect.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
You just mentioned Columbine. That was a big deal.
It was a state and obviously country and world grievance. It was almost as significant feeling as 9/11, you know?
Yeah.
You know where you were and how it felt. And that was huge.
Yeah.
It was a huge deal.
Yeah.
And that happened while we were just getting into high school.
Yeah.
So it was very relevant.
Yeah.
You know?
Now, Chris, you were just mentioning that there are some restaurants nearby. What kind of restaurants are there and where do you go often?
Sure. We've got everything you could want. You could go to a 5-star Michelin, restaurant. Our favorite is, I'm terrible with the names of
I know.
the
I was like,
restaurants.
you were asking the wrong person. But I'm like the planner. So
Yes.
I feel like he's like, where are we going?
Yeah. We definitely married our other half, literally, the things that I might be good at, I might carry us, and the things she's great at, she carries us, and names and directions are among those top qualities.
Well, let's switch over to Katie then. Tell me a couple of the restaurants that you guys like to go to and what kind of foods you enjoy.
Yeah. Chris really loves to go to North, and that's a really great Italian restaurant, and we'll get a really great bolognese. We also will, if we're like feeling like we want to spend a little bit more money, we'll go over to Quality Italian to split a steak. Yeah. I love Le Bibloquet, and I get like their mussels with a white wine. There's this really great new one that just opened up. It's called Le Colonial. That one's kind of like Vietnamese inspired. And so I've only had apps there. I need to actually go for dinner. And then Uchiko just opened up, which is like a sister restaurant of Uchi. And that's like right in front of our condo. And so that place has been fabulous.
The French Vietnamese place sounds great. You know why those two different culinary worlds come together? It's because Vietnam was a French colony or French holding. That's why they work together so well. And that's where Vietnam got their bread from the French. And with the French Vietnamese fusion, I think it's a really great fit.
That is cool. I wouldn't have even thought of that.
How do you guys handle life inside of a 700 square foot condo?
Oh, God.
Carefully.
Do we have the boxing gloves on right now? I can't see.
Yeah, it gets a little tight.
As small as it is, we have our corners that we retreat to. No.
Yeah.
Even though with what we do, I'm just one of those that likes to get up, shower, dress, and go. I think having that office to go to, which I utilize a lot, gives us healthy separation in the small space.
Every couple needs that. And now I'm kind of putting it all together, Chris, because if you're driving 1 million miles in 10 years on 3 vehicles, it explains why you live in such a small space. You just get out and drive.
Yes, I do. I try. That's a good observation. Yes,
thank you.
I would prefer to go.
And Katie, how do you get away?
Oh, gosh. I Lex our dog for a 30-minute walk every day. So that's always really fun. And
every day.
Yeah, around the neighborhood. So that's good. And I love going to like a coffee shop and like reading. Yeah, pretty much that. But
you're good at your girls' nights.
Yeah.
We get away together.
She's a pit bull mix. I could pull up we did that what is it called? The DNA testing. Yeah. She has like a little bit of Aussie in her.
An all-American mutt, as I like to say.
When you do the DNA testing for animals, do they geolocate where the animal comes from? Would they say like what continent or what country it might be from?
No. I just had the percentage. So it was like 55% pit bull, 23% Australian Shepherd, 12% American Staffordshire.
And what is your puppy's name?
Lexi. She just turned 11 in March.
Yeah.
When did you get her?
Oh, that's a funny story. Katie and I went to high school together. We knew who each other was, but we ran in different circles. Can't say that we maybe spoke, but not even a passing word to each other.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. She goes to college in Hawaii. I went to CU Boulder. Then after a year up in Boulder, it's a great university, but it's also a party school. And it was really around that time that we graduated that our paths, her friends and my friends, all started to hang and started noticing her like at the same places I was, barbecues and golf and skiing and just all these fun things. Our 10-year high school reunion was coming up, and I had told everybody I have no intentions of going to that. And one time we were all hanging out and she's like, I don't have anyone to go to our reunion with. Will you go with me? And of course I was like, yes. Because at that time, something started to feel drawn to her a little bit. But anytime I would talk to her, I would freeze. I even
like freeze and run.
It was so beautiful. And the reputation she had in high school was intimidating to me. And so
Chris,
I
you
always
can't gloss over that. What was Katie's reputation from your point of view?
Oh gosh.
She was just a phenomenally and genuinely kind person. Her faith was extremely important to her. In that respect, she was a very good girl in high school and in college and in life, I guess you could say. She didn't party. She was active in youth group and at church and with her family. And she just, every element of her life, she just was just this good person. And it's only gotten better with age, I feel like. So my thought was, how could anybody like that, You have your own interpretation of what your reputation might look like to others. And how she ever,
Katie, now you have to tell me, is that a valid perception?
No, that was very kind. And it is the same thing too.
Pretty accurate?
Yeah.
So when did that change?
We go to the high school reunion, and I'm not kidding. After that night, the rest was history. Like that's all she wrote. We didn't spend a day apart for a long time. But that was in September, and I had gone out to Oklahoma to visit my brother in the Navy at Tinker Air Force Base, the largest Air Force base. He was an aviation electrician. I'd go out to visit him a lot, and he had roommates off base at a house, and they had dogs. And I met Lexi a year before Katie and I started dating. Not even 6 months. She was a baby. So I had met her maybe 2 or 3 times. There's this connection to this dog. And I just always said, if you guys ever get deployed, and that was a real deal, if you guys ever get deployed or have to move or what have you, and you need a home for her, I will take her. I'll take her right now. And I get a call on a Saturday that she's gone. And it's my brother's roommate saying, hey, I am getting deployed. I can't keep Lexi. Will you really take her? And this dog. We had this instant connection. But my life had just changed to and so I'm weighing, I know I have this angelic, amazing dog, but I also have this angelic, amazing girl, that I want to see where that goes. And ultimately I said yes. And Lexi was driven out from Oklahoma and I picked her up. So when I go to pick up Katie from the airport after her week-long trip, Lexi's in the back and she's like, well, who is this? And I may have lied. I said, oh, it's a friend of my brother's and I'm watching her for a bit. And I don't know why that was my reaction, but anyway, we were obviously spending all this time together and now Lexi's with us. And after a while, I looked at Katie and weeks or a month had gone by and I looked at Katie and I go, do you not like dogs? And she's like, no, I love dogs. And I was like, well, I just see you keeping her at a distance. And she goes, well, I'm trying not to get attached to her. And that's when I was like, okay, I'm sorry. This is how it happened. And she's ours if you want her.
Oh my God. I was so pissed. I was like, we're going to Petco. We're buying her the nicest bed. And we're like letting her pick out all the toys.
So
But
now
she
that
really
she's
is.
a full-time family member, are you both equally in love with Lexi?
She's funny. She'll love on Chris like in the morning time. And then sometimes when we go to sleep, but then like, mostly during the day, she's kind of near me the whole time.
She has, over the last 5-6 years, become devoted to her. That if we were to stand in a field and have her in the middle, I would stand it.
Right. Now, that's a brutal thing to do to yourself. Don't even think about that stuff.
No, we're so lucky to have her. She's so great.
Does it feel like it was a spiritual connection when you guys came
yes.
together?
Absolutely. I don't really believe in soulmates. Chris is like kind of changed on that. And I kind of do. I definitely feel like I found my person. We complement one another in so many different ways. It's just like random stuff. Like even when we first started dating, we asked the really awkward question of like, do you want kids? And Chris and I individually, before even asking that, both just were kind of like on the fence of no. And when we both said no, we were both like, okay, we love to go skiing. We both love golf. We love going out to eat dinners. I just feel like there's so many commonalities that we share. And
I've gone back and forth on soulmates because obviously we both have been in love before and it begs the question. But the way that Katie and I have come to be, it's hard for me to kind of ignore how fateful it maybe seems. Just how many opportunities there really were for us to have explored this before. And it almost felt like we came together at a time when we were both ready. A lot of growing up needed to be life independent of one another in various ways for various reasons. It's hard for me to believe that I would have been able to experience a fraction of that with anyone else.
When people
So,
talk about the word soulmates, it's kind of like a buzzword in a way. So are you
yeah.
saying, Katie, that you don't believe in whatever that is connected to?
I just feel like there's so many people in the world that you could share these like really genuine connections with. I think you can have multiple soulmates possibly. I don't know. I definitely feel like I've found a really great match.
And
if we ever didn't work out, I would be searching for Chris.
And Chris, what are you feeling about the word soulmates and whatever baggage it brings along?
Yeah, you're right. It's totally a buzzword. And I think that the stereotype is the baggage. But if you simplify it and bring it back to what its purpose is, what is a soulmate? I believe you can love multiple people because I have. But I also believe you can fall out of love with people. I just can't imagine falling out of love with Katie regardless of what our status was. So I believe in it. Yeah.
Okay. I think that makes perfect sense. I think a lot of people spend way too much time thinking about that. There's all this pressure and energy related to that silly word, right?
Absolutely.
For sure.
Wow. Tell me a little bit about whether or not kids ever became part of the conversation.
Our nieces and nephews are just like our whole world, but I knew I didn't want them. And so that didn't really matter earlier on, in high school and college, because you're not having that conversation. But post college, I really knew I didn't. And by the time Katie and I talked about it, I was a little nervous, when it came up. I hadn't even thought because her sister has kids. And I was nervous that might deter her from, wanting to see it through. So I was pleasantly surprised to hear that she also felt that way.
So Katie, tell me about your feelings related to children and why you didn't want to have them.
Yeah, I feel like I never really had like that maternal instinct of I just can't wait to have children and carry a child and all the things. Years of watching also like a lot of my friends struggle with having a baby and then having miscarriages was just so heartbreaking to watch. If I had married the guy that had proposed to me, I probably would have had kids just because of like societal norms of a checklist of, okay, done, let's do it. And then the more I thought about it as I got older, it was just like there was so many factors. This is incredibly scary where we're at, especially with how much technology is progressing. I've even been noticing it with my niece and nephew. They're 10 and 7, and how much they're so dependent on their iPads and just television sometimes. This world of like bullying is just really scary because it's a whole level and it's like online. They're very expensive. I just don't think we could afford long-term of all of that and the pressure of like having like a college fund, even if kids nowadays are probably like, I'm not going to college, I'm going to be an influencer, like, oh my gosh, there's so many other reasons that's really hard to do. I love sleep and to be able to wake up in the morning and just like kind of choose my own adventure. And I wouldn't be able to do that with kids. Chris and I, for example, we offered to go down and watch my nephew, McKinley's 10 and Taryn is 7. Ash and Cole had just had a really big wedding anniversary, and then Ashley also turned 40. And so
Ash.
We got to watch the kids for them for a whole week. And it was like school and their different extracurricular activities. And then like trying to decipher how to be not Aunt and fun Katie and, Uncle Chris. And then trying to like be disciplinarian. And then like calling their mom at like 11 o'clock because I had to take an iPad away because Taryn didn't tell me he went to the playground. It just was the most eye-opening week I think I've ever had in my whole entire life.
Yes.
And they were also like pushing us too. It was hilarious.
That was a fun week.
I've heard that so many times before. There are just so many fear-based reasons why people don't want to get into it. And it's totally understandable. They're not just like something you want to forget about. The financial aspects of having children is big, and I could understand why people don't want to have kids. So other people's kids, right? But having them for yourself, a lot of people just don't want that, right?
That week was eye-opening. You, as a parent, are revolving around their schedule, and it is non-stop.
Right. It's their life, not yours.
Yes.
Yeah.
After that week of watching them, I literally called my dad and said, I get it. I understand you better. My brother-in-law too, who it was his kids we were watching. I was like, Cole, I get you, man. I get the cold plunge and the sauna and your exercise. I get it.
Yeah. And it, other part of it too, it's been really hard. And then especially as a woman, I have a lot of girlfriends that have gone down the motherhood route. And when I do meet up with them and maybe it's once a quarter, most of the conversation is about their kids. And every time when I ask, well, how are you? And then they always bring in, well, so and she's like, blah, 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 like, no, wanting to know about you. And then with that as well, you get kind of less invitations to stuff because you don't have a kid. And so, there's definitely where I'm like, okay, I guess I'll wait 20 years until the kids are out of the house and then we can rekindle that friendship. It's just, that was been hard. But I've found actually a really good group of other girlfriends that actually have also chosen to not have kids. And they've become incredibly close and big pillars in my life too.
That's exactly what I was thinking about. I was going to ask you, do you have friends or other couples who don't have children? Are you more bonded because of that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we just went last year. Katie had never been to Europe, which is crazy because she loves to travel. I had been to Europe, but I did it in that way that a guy does, hostels and backpack and all that. And we had traveled a bunch together, but all-inclusive resort in Mexico isn't necessarily what you're getting yourself into in Europe. But one of the couples that we're really close with, I'd say closest to Brent and Rebecca. Rebecca was having a milestone birthday. She's the type of person that when she plans a trip to Europe, you go with her.
Stay
because it's going to be, and it was amazing.
Okay, tell me, what was that like for you having never been there before?
Oh my gosh. It was definitely a culture shock for sure. So we first went to Slovenia and then we road tripped through to get to Croatia. And again, like Rebecca just planned this thing so beautifully and and she did it with like 15 people total that came out. That's how amazing this woman is. Like people just want to be around her. But yeah, it was funny. Like the first day in Slovenia, we're getting coffee. They don't really speak English. And I'm like smiling and saying thank you. And Chris just smirking in the back because he just knows that like them not smiling at me was going to be like, what's wrong with them? Whatever. And I leave and I was like, they were rude. And Chris was like, no, that was them being nice. And I was like, great.
Yeah, a lot of Europeans don't do the smile thing. Americans, we're brought up culturally to smile at everything and everyone. And over there, they're a little bit less so.
Yeah, more reserved.
Just real.
Yeah. The food was fabulous. It was really interesting to also taste the different regions of wine, at the wineries there, which was really neat.
But to give you an idea of how much we were on the go, and that's why we couldn't bring as much, we stayed in 12 different places in 14 days. So we were really on the go every day. And
that was crazy.
Why have your friend design a trip that went to kind of more obscure, wonderful nations instead of the typical London, Paris, Barcelona type?
Because they've done that.
Oh, you don't know that?
No, because my friend had done it.
She is
like a traveler. So she and a lot of the other people that had been in the group had been to those bigger places and more well known. And she was just like, I've always wanted to go to Slovenia and Croatia. And they were the most beautiful countries. I have no words.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Oh, okay. That was your first time then.
Mm-hmm.
Can you believe what the prices are like now at restaurants and accommodations and things like that?
No. Switzerland is I think one of the most expensive countries in the world to travel. And when I was seeing these price tags, I was like, oh my God, what's happening?
We're all going through worldwide inflationary period right now.
Well, especially you being in Oahu, holy sugar, the prices there are crazy.
Yeah.
It's similar.
It's really difficult to life anywhere if you want to just have fun and get away from home and just see what things are like. You go, oh my God, $400 for a hotel room and up, who knows, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So do you have any future plans to do traveling, or is it just kind of like a wait and see thing right now?
Yeah. Right now it's kind of head down, really trying to save money.
Mm-hmm.
I turn 40 next October, not this coming, but the following. So maybe we'll do a trip, hopefully. Wink, wink.
I've already got something in the works.
Chris, that was a very strong hint Katie just gave you there. Okay. Now, earlier you mentioned about the insurance agency. What kind of insurance is it and why did you fall into that line of work?
I initially got into it. It's kind of funny, again, how Katie and I's worlds butt up. But my mom after my parents divorced, my mom went back to work and she went back to work for our farmer's agent at the time. And she got really, really good at it really quick, got licensed. The woman that owned the agency retired. My mom started her own when I was getting into high school. And so I grew up around it. And this is also true of Katie, because Katie's dad just recently retired, and he's in the State Farm world. He built an incredibly powerful network and business within the community we grew up in Parker, Colorado. And her dad was a State Farm agent, and my mom was a farmer's agent. So we both grew up in it. But in college, I went to work with her while she was building that. And ultimately, it was just a good way for me to help and earn some money and be able to go to school at the same time. And I've started so young. I was 18. The only way that to be successful when you're 18 years old, for anyone to take you seriously doing it, is to do it over the phone. Because if they meet you, they're like, I'm not buying my home and auto insurance from a child, So I did. I got good at that. Worked with her for like 10 years building that business. And then it got to the point where after I graduated college, I was pretty much doing my own thing within it anyway, and told her I'm going to take this job that I was offered at another insurance company down in Arizona and move, or, I could buy it from you. And so I bought her agency when I was 22 or 23. She cut me no deals, although she might tell you she did. And that was like my thing. That was my baby, not to toot my own horn, but I did find my purpose in it and did really well with it. And I'd say at the peak of that is when Katie and I started dating. So
is the insurance part of your world as well, Katie?
It was so funny. Both my sisters happened to actually work for my dad, and I refused. And after college, he was like, just come work with me. It was during 2008. So we were having a recession. It was really hard to find a job. Luckily, it took me 5 months, but I found a really great job. And so I just never liked being at the dinner table around them, because it was all insurance talk and clients. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so boring. Stop. And then sure enough, I'm married to an insurance agent. And when COVID hit, I had been let go from my job, and I had been applying for jobs and I just wasn't getting anywhere. And so Chris was like, how about we just start our own? And he was trying to sell the farmer's agency anyways. And so it just kind of worked out. So yeah, it's been really fun.
So you guys are working together in the insurance world now?
Absolutely,
yes. Yeah.
Okay.
We live in 700 square feet. We work together. We wrote a book together, and we are attached all the time.
Yeah. Is that something that you're good with? Because I've worked with former special people in my life, and
Hard.
Right. Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
No, there are days for sure where he's like, I'm going to go into the office and you can stay home. And I'm like, great, for sure. Lots of communication. There are frustrating days. For sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
there are always people around us when you tell them that you're working with your spouse, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, whatever, and they go, why?
Oh my gosh. Everyone I
Good
talk
luck.
to, they're like, I need space and my time away. And I'm like, oh, I get it.
So DNA-wise, apparently insurance is in your genes, Chris. And so that's how you got into it. So it wasn't a choice. It was something that you were kind of born into and now taken.
It's weird to say, but having been doing this now for about 20 years is a long time.
I want to shift gears for a second. You've been doing the insurance thing since you said for quite a while now. But then earlier in the conversation, you also said that working together is challenging. Why did you go ahead and decide to write a book about your world and your marriage and so on? The details maybe a little bit later, but why did you decide, knowing that working together is so challenging, why did you decide that you're going to go ahead and write a book?
Oh, man.
Well, Chris challenged me after a hellacious couple years of, trying to navigate freshly being married and then navigating Chris's addiction. And it was the most lonely, isolating experience I think that we've had to do together. And I just feel like we had such a really powerful story to tell. And we knew that we were going to be incredibly vulnerable and honest. And we, at least when I had really needed some resources when he was away at the rehabilitation, there's not a lot of books out there that's from both perspectives of the loved one and the person struggling in addiction. So I think we really wanted to provide that for other people and to help. But, didn't think that adding that book would create more pressure, and it for sure. It absolutely did. It was probably one of the hardest things that we've had to do together.
Right.
It would have been much easier if it was like a solo book for sure.
Yeah.
But we did it and very proud of it.
Chris, was it your idea to do the book, or Katie, was it your idea?
No, I think it was mine, and it came around where it all happened. Everything major that you can imagine going on in a person's lives, and how they can change. All those were happening to us all at the same time. It felt like too close together. Matt paired with COVID, including getting married and selling homes and selling a business and all these things. And then simple injury sparked addiction, where an innocent prescription turned into treating internal wounds as opposed to external.
Mm-hmm.
When we decided to write the book, it really just felt like a step in a therapeutic way for us, where we had just gone through this, extreme set of circumstances for years.
I have a question. Sorry for interrupting, but if this is your idea, Chris, it was a powerful story of you and Katie and your world together and so on. If you had a story or a book in you, why not do it from your perspective instead of speaking to Katie or trying to drag her into it or whatever it might be? Why did it become a group thing instead of just your story?
It's a great question. Probably the same reason in my experience, and it was new to me at the time. This is all learned over the last few years, but in recovery, in addiction specifically, regardless of what substance or remedy you were using, it is kind of known that it's easier to get through on your own, to repair trust that's been broken. It's really hard to rebuild that. And I'd say most of the experiences that I've had with other people, if they were married, they got divorced. If they had a girlfriend or boyfriend, they split up. And our circumstance was equally difficult, the hardest things that we've ever done, or had to do. And we went through them together. The concept of writing a book from my perspective felt like it anything unless her voice was in it too, because she suffered this with me. I didn't suffer it in the same ways that I did, but in a way I almost feel like she suffered more because she couldn't control it. And she lost everything that I lost, but it was my doing, unfortunately.
Chris, I want to know whether or not that this felt like it was a sales bit to get Katie involved. Were you trying to salvage the relationship at the time the book thought came into play? And then I'm going to ask Katie some questions about this as well.
Oh, fair question. I haven't even thought about that as much, but no, it needed on my end. At the point where we decided to do this, write the book, there was no selling of any kind necessary.
I'm just trying to capture the moment before we decided when it was still in your head. How did you pitch Katie? What was the thought? It's like, we're going to be better if we do it together. Yep.
Imagine your baseline every day is chaos. You're in and out of addiction, and that's both physically and mentally because it consumes you. Something that you sought out for relief ultimately becomes the primary problem that you needed the relief from in the place. So if your baseline is chaos, it's very noticeable when you get a break from it because you're in fight or flight mode all the time.
Tell me from your perspective what it was like after being a loving, supportive partner as much as you could possibly be, having gone through all this torturous life stuff. When Chris first brought up the fact that the two of you could write a book about your experiences, what were you thinking and feeling at that time?
That I just immediately thought that, yes, we have an incredibly powerful story to share. And I just feel like we have these little nuances that, we just could share a different point of view. Like Chris didn't get clean through the AA program, and we used a lot of different healing modalities of alternative medicines. And, then it's like me really talking and not going to the Al-Anon for the loved one. That really helped me very much. And so I just feel like it's all around an unconventional approach to this. And I just felt like we had such an interesting perspective to share.
When did you guys actually write the book? How long's it been on the market? How do you market it?
Yeah. So it was last year where Chris dared me to look for, it was like Christmas. We were driving home from the cabin and he was like, I'm really curious. Could you look into this? And blah, blah, blah. A couple weeks, we had some bites and they were like, please send in a first draft. And so Chris and I wrote separately on the same topic. And it was the day that we both how we experienced him leaving to go to the rehabilitation center and having the meeting, the intervention. And we got a lot of bites, and it was really cool to actually see, people interested. And so we went with this really great local one here in Denver. They are fabulous. SJ is the most caring, compassionate person in this business. We just lucked out more. So we wrote it in we signed in February, started writing in March, and it published last November on the 17th. So it was a whirlwind.
Wow.
And it's meeting different deadlines. There's two of us. We have very different writing techniques. And then we've been really enjoying podcasts. Love meeting people like you and talking and having these really just fun, genuine conversations and getting to know people. And it just feels like this has been so authentic and so great. And it just feels like we're meeting you over a cup of coffee and hanging out in a great conversation. So
what is the name of the book?
It's Coloring Outside the Lines, a love story in the gray of recovery, redemption, and
addiction, recovery.
Addiction, recovery, and redemption. Yeah. It's a lengthy title, yes.
So please explain to us the whole connection or relationship with a publisher, because in my mind, I always thought that if a publisher is willing to sign someone, they're responsible for at least a small portion of marketing and getting you there. And even if not paying you royalties, they should get it into bookshops. So tell me how you signed with somebody who wasn't going to give you royalties, and what was the benefit of that?
They educated us tremendously, Landon Hale Press and SJ specifically.
It's almost like working with friends. It's very, very personable. They help you work with all of these connections and people. The way that they have this mapped out is genius, and it works.
The publishing world is really, really changing. So what do they get out of their association with you?
Well, obviously there's a fee that you pay them, and they want to make sure that you can also write a book. And
we talked about it with her the other day. We obviously pay for time and services they provide up front. And we work with them on an ongoing basis, just continuing to market in new ways, if you will.
Yeah. Think about that when you're publishing a book. How many publishers do you actually get to meet and talk to? And
it sounds like a real creative association now, what their publishing world is all about.
Yes.
So
yes.
Chris, really important question here. How are you doing? Did you beat the addiction? Are you healthy? Is everything getting better?
Yeah. It's gotten tremendously better. I've learned that to say I'm recovered, I'm always going to be in recovery. But my experience, to answer your question, yes, I'm doing
physically, health-wise, mentally, spiritually, the whole bit that you went through
all
before that was suffering. You're better now, or a lot better.
Yes, absolutely.
And Katie, what about you? Are you feeling better?
Yes, I am for sure. It's really hard to really come down from that fight or flight that you're just constantly living in, and regulating your nervous system is just so difficult. So I've been really trying to tap into these emotions that you really don't really know how to process, like resentment and anger, and you're almost grieving a person and a life that you had thought that was the path you were going to go on. And it's just these really untapped parts of you that you normally don't experience, especially maybe as young too.
So Chris, were you approached in an intervention?
Yes.
Is that what got you started on the road to recovery?
It is, yeah.
And how long were you in recovery?
So when I had the intervention, I was on a plane to Florida within the hour. It happened that quick.
Okay.
And that was initially set up to be 30 days. And I elected to stay for another 15 at that place specifically. And that was an inpatient rehabilitation center in Florida. It was called The Refuge. It was a phenomenal place. It was trauma and addiction focused. But the agreement coming home, which Katie and I, worked out, was to continue that process, obviously, through outpatient programs. And so I did that technically I'm still enrolled in it, 5 years later. I have been clean, sober, if you will, for it's going on 3 years.
Good for you.
Thank you. I got clean and sober while I was in Florida during the rehabilitation. I got home and I learned what the difference between dry and sober actually meant. You know what I mean? So dry meaning not taking anything and just not living. And that eventually is set up to fail. So there were relapses along the way. Everybody defines a relapse as the way they look at it is different. Some people think, well, it's not a relapse unless you go on a bender for a while. And for me, it was just one time, one pill, one whatever. And so there were those along the way, which is a part of the process we learned. But yeah, so getting over the physical addiction was the easiest part. And it wasn't easy. It was getting rid of or getting through and over the mental aspect of it.
Oh, that's a big part of it.
Huge. Yeah, I did not realize that was probably more than 75% of the battle.
Yeah, because you could be substance free, but your mind is going to continue for the rest of your life.
Yep.
Katie, what about your therapy? What about your addiction recovery, so to speak, while Chris was going through this? How long and what did you do?
Yeah, I appreciate even that. It's like when he went off, like, they get to go have a fresh meal every day. They have a bed, they have therapy, they have all of these programs. And then you're just kind of like, well, what about me? You're like, I also experienced all of this. And I absolutely became addicted to Chris's addiction. It became my identity. It became my life. So yeah, I luckily have had a really good foundation already for myself of being able to take care of myself. I got in a really bad car accident in my 20s. And so because of that, it also really helped me look at opportunities to go deeper. So I really, really leaned into psychotherapy, and I did this thing called the frog medicine. It's called combo. One, it's like burned onto your skin and you have kind of this purge, and it's really releasing on a cellular level of things that are kept into your body physically and spiritually. It's a really intense thing to do. I did that for 3 days. And then I've done bufo a couple of times, and that's a frog medicine as well. And that was the most beautiful experience I think that I've ever had. And because of these alternative modalities, I've been able to tap into emotions that I have normally been so good at pushing down, and I'm a master of like disassociation. And so it's really, really helped my open up and my soul to just welcome in this different world that I probably would have never been able to tap into.
When you mentioned these different modalities that you were experimenting with or trying out to get to the healing point that you're at now, was DMT talked about?
A little bit, because I believe, isn't the 5-MeO-DMT technically bufo? Is that different than?
Oh, that's why I asked, but it brings you so far outside of yourself and conscious thought that I'm just wondering, how does it heal when you have something specific you're trying to heal from?
For sure. I mean, there's so many things that you can experience with that. And I think it's like people have said that it's like a conversation with God sometimes. I absolutely had that. It's also like a death of your ego. And I was able to have this external, like really intense release, and I get emotional talking about it. I even got emotional like on a podcast, but like I was able to literally scream out everything that I had been like holding deep so down. And it's just the most beautiful experience because and it's hard to talk about it too, because like so many people are closed off to this, very judgy. And I'm just so grateful that I have a community that I had like been introduced with this. And then to do this alongside with Chris as well. And he is able to like heal parts of him too. And we're able to do that together, like a lot of therapies are just so separate. And it's just kind of like you hope that you're going to come together at some point. And for us, it's just been like from day one, it's like, we're doing this. We're here together. We're going to make sure that we're going to heal properly as individuals, but then also as a couple too.
Okay. And the same question I asked Chris, Katie, I want to ask you, how are you doing right now?
I'm so good. I'm great. I had therapy this morning. We had a really great talk. And so I have like a good plan of action stuff for me. I'm doing really, really good right now. It's been a long, long road, but right now I'm like in a really positive, obviously still, I'm a very emotional person. So just always crying, but that's okay.
Good. I always cry too.
Good. See, it's good.
It's powerful stuff. Okay, guys, we're going to do the lightning round right now. Ready?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go.
Who apologizes first? Okay. Is there a reason for that? Or is it just your natural thing?
Natural. I'm stubborn.
Well, it is natural for me, but when it to this specifically,
no, your life, just your shared life. Who apologizes first? It's you.
Yeah.
So, is there any part of you, Chris, that wonders why Katie doesn't apologize?
I've learned and learning that, but I was very curious. When you apologize, you don't understand people that don't, you know?
Do you feel like you sacrifice your power when you're the
Yes.
apologizer instead of?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So
Out here on this limb of vulnerability and I'm not getting it back.
So
Yeah.
Katie, when it comes to apologizing, do you have an issue that you're surrendering when you apologize?
Yeah, it's so layered. I definitely grew up in a household where my mirror of conflict was all behind closed doors and then nobody talked and it was all brushed under the rug and there was never conflict resolution. And to this day, struggle with it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would much rather walk away from the conversation and deal with it in my own little way. And half the time it's just disassociation or putting it in compartmentalization. And then I just totally leave him abandoned and unresolved. It's not good.
So when you disassociate, is that also disassociating from reality or responsibility?
A little. It's more so of protecting myself from further harm. And it's gotten more difficult because unfortunately through this whole process, there had been a lot of lying and deceit. And so now it's kind of like Chris is wanting to kind of take back this control of power that I didn't want and now have had it for so long that I think I'm still kind of like holding on to it because I'm scared to give it back because I didn't want it in the first place, if that makes sense.
Chris, does that jive with you?
Yeah, it really does. Yeah,
it does.
Say that.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay. Who remembers wrong more often? Okay. Once again, Chris. And is that because, is there like a guilt associated with that? Or is that just part of your nature?
I think it's part of my nature. I mean, if you tried to define it medically, I do have which is, it depends on who you ask, but it's a trauma response.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in chaos. So I'm a fixer. I have been a people pleaser.
Are those same? A fixer and a people pleaser? And are you in actuality a fixer or do you just perceive yourself as one?
No, I think I'm pretty positive I am. Yeah. And I don't know. I think if they're not the same, they're very closely related.
Okay.
You know?
Katie, does that jive with you?
Yeah. Chris is a king of helping everyone else, but doesn't help himself.
Right. Pretty standard status.
Yeah.
Who's the more dramatic one?
Me.
Okay. And why is that? And how does that play out?
Oh gosh. He'll be in the other room and I'll like drop the clicker and he'll be like, and then he'll come running in and he's like, what happened? Are you okay? And I'm like, I can't reach the clicker. And he's like, are you kidding? Like, can you just like dial it down? I don't know. I've always been very dramatic since I was a kid.
Yeah. The remote control thing is big in our world.
Yeah. Yes.
Chris, does that jive with you?
Oh, it does. Yeah. Everything's equally as important.
That for sure.
Okay. That's quiet? I'm assuming it's Katie.
Yeah.
Okay. And does that work for you? Or is that just your way of, I just can't deal with this anymore? Wall.
Not good. Like totally, even in therapy, it's very relevant. Today was a big talking about this, why, and like things to do about it. So
okay. Who
not
cooks
healthy.
better?
I recognize it.
Right. Definitely not healthy, but you're the cook, Katie?
Yes.
She follows the recipe better, but on the fly, right here, I got.
So Chris, you're Mr. Improv. Katie does the recipes. Who cooks on the day-to-day basis?
I do.
So what are a couple of your go-to meals?
Yeah. So I hate the grocery store. I hate it. So I have fallen in love with HelloFresh. It's like a food delivery. You pick out your meals in advance. You have every single little ingredient. You have a little pretty picture to follow. But I would say a lot of the ones that I will repeat is this like cayenne chicken, Parmesan, carrots, and mashed potatoes is a good one. Or couscous. We do a lot of couscous and salmon and green beans. They sometimes have a really good sun-dried tomato pasta one that we like, and we'll add in the chopped chicken. I could keep going. Oh,
that sounds good. A lot of people are using those services nowadays, especially people who don't like to shop and really maybe didn't learn to love cooking early on. So that makes it nice and simple, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It really does. We don't like leftovers and it's just the two of us. So it's pretty easy.
Yeah.
You don't like leftovers. So when you go to restaurants, you have food left over, you don't ask for a doggy bag?
No, we always
do. And rarely gets eaten.
So I was going to say, are those not leftovers? And then you just said you don't eat the leftovers.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I know. It's
Okay.
like maybe wanting to not be wasteful. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then
That's
you're
funny.
so
So you don't want to be wasteful. So you ask them for a bag and a box.
For a
and
box.
then you-
Yes.
I know.
Yes. It's a double.
We're working on
Yeah.
it.
I know.
Yeah.
Now, based on the beginning of the show, when Chris, you said you really didn't understand directions and how to get around and things, my next question was really who misremembers details? And I'm going to guess it's you, Chris.
No, it's
No.
me.
She's precise.
Yeah, I'm precise.
Yeah,
You're precise.
sure.
And as far as just storytelling, just banter, chat, Chris,
I'm
it's
a
you.
good I entertain.
Chris is the entertainer for sure, but then
Sure.
I'll keep him in check.
So, Chris, does it not piss you off that when you're telling a story in mixed company with Katie at your side and you say something and she corrects you in front of other people? Come on.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. That's going to have to be another day.
Right. Sounds good. Well, you guys, you sound like you're completely advanced in understanding each other at this point. Would you say that that's true?
For sure. Yep.
Now it's time for the impromptu promo, which I'm sure because you guys have watched the show before, this is where you have a chance to tell your best friend when he or she calls later tonight and they ask you, what was it like being on the 50 Tastes of Grey show with Matthew? Let's start with you, Katie. What will you tell your best friend?
I would say this was the most comfortable I think I've been on a podcast. And I would probably talk about your great questions, your energy, your humor, and that it was just really fun conversation. I just feel like lately it's harder to connect with people. So this just really was refreshing.
Thank you. Chris, what would you say to your best friend when he or she calls you later?
Yeah. I think that I would say that I was pleasantly surprised at how I thought I was prepared, but I was pleasantly surprised that I was still, caught with questions that I maybe wasn't anticipating as much.
The show is actually designed in the same way that your book's title talks about outside the box, right? And the gray area, right?
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
So good fit, if you ask me.
It absolutely
For
is.
sure. No, I agree. If I'm two, this is probably one of my favorite done with Katie as well. I can always tell when energies connect. I'm a good read on, and I feel like she's at ease, like just said with you. That matches. That meshes.
Works. Okay. So a couple more questions, then we're going to kind of wrap it up. What's a moment you want more of?
I would like more opportunities to go see live music. It's just gotten so expensive. The energy is just different. Like we went to a concert a couple weeks ago and everyone's glued to their phone and not like in the moment. And I'm just a very observant person. So I always try to look what's going around me with that stuff too. So yeah, I would live music in my life.
That's a funny point that you brought up, Katie, because if you go to the Louvre, let's say, to see Mona Lisa, the most famous painting in the world, and you're in that room and you're trying to see the painting, you know what you see? You see clones who are filming it.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Chris, what do you want more of?
We do at least 2 trips every year down to Texas to visit our niece and nephew. And this last trip we did fishing for the first time. And so it's almost that sense of connection with others, but outside and outdoors and sharing that with the younger generation, teaching in a way. I would love more of that.
What's a moment in your life that makes you laugh?
Chris.
Okay. So you find him very entertaining.
Oh, yes. He definitely is like my perfect match when it comes to like when we argue, like he will bring in like lightness to it. And I am just very much like more serious. So yeah, I would say like Chris is definitely my like funny light in my life for sure. I know
Chris,
that's cheesy, but it's so true.
How would you respond to that?
That's a compliment. But, easy to do when it's your favorite person too.
So when your favorite person is cutting your head off a conversation or let's say an argument, how do you bring light to that moment?
I can get a quick funny story. I had to have a port put in. I had ended up in the hospital and I had my organs were ailing and my kidneys hadn't turned on. So they had to put a port in for dialysis. Well, it was big dressing and needed changing. And the first day I'm home, I asked Katie for help with it, and we're in fight or flight mode. She's going to change the dressing and pull the tape back. And I don't know what came over me, but I decided to scream as if I was in pain when she was doing it. I was like, ow, and she freaked out. And then I told her, I'm just kidding. And we both just burst into this combination of laughter and tears. And so that's the thing I can think of to respond to that question.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I really, really want to thank you so much for hanging with me here on 50 Tastes of Grey. You're two people who have lived the same story and still don't agree on half of it. And that's perfect. I love that.
Thank you. Thank you for having us
thank you.
asking those questions.
You bet. So do you know how we say hello and goodbye here in Hawaii?
Aloha.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks. You too.